How Easy Aliyah supports you before and after you move to Israel. Making Aliyah represents far more than a standard immigration process. It is, at its core, a profound life transition that touches every aspect of a person's existence. The journey involves navigating legal eligibility requirements, achieving emotional readiness for such a significant change, executing meticulous logistical planning, and ultimately integrating into a society governed by a complex and highly bureaucratic system. For those embarking on this path, the challenges extend well beyond simply expressing a desire to move or meeting the basic qualifications for Jewish return to Israel. The reality that many olim face is not a lack of motivation or entitlement to make Aliyah, but rather the practical execution of the process itself. Israeli bureaucracy, when approached correctly and with proper preparation, can be remarkably efficient. However, the system proves deeply unforgiving when mistakes occur. Documents must be precisely prepared and properly authenticated. Appointments must be scheduled in the correct sequence and at the appropriate times, and strict timelines must be respected throughout every stage of the process. A single misstep, an incorrectly translated document, a missed deadline, or an improperly scheduled appointment can result in delays measured not in days, but in months. This is precisely where an Aliyah Concierge Service transforms from a convenience into an absolute necessity for those who value certainty in their transition. An Aliyah Concierge Service provides hands-on, personalized, end-to-end support throughout every phase of the Aliyah journey. This stands in stark contrast to information-based assistance programs that simply provide guidance documents or one-time consultations that offer advice without ongoing involvement. A true concierge service actively manages tasks on behalf of clients, coordinates appointments with various Israeli government agencies, and physically accompanies clients through critical stages of the process. The distinction is fundamental. While other services tell you what to do, a concierge service ensures that everything gets done correctly. Easy Aliyah operates as a personal project manager for your entire Aliyah experience, ensuring that each step is completed correctly and in precisely the right order. The service takes ownership of the process, tracking deadlines, anticipating requirements, and proactively addressing potential obstacles before they become problems. This approach transforms what can be an overwhelming and anxiety-inducing experience into a structured, manageable journey with clear milestones and reliable support at every turn. What distinguishes Easy Aliyah from other services in the Aliyah assistance space is a combination of factors that together create an unparalleled support experience. The team possesses deep familiarity with Israeli government systems, understanding not just the official procedures, but the practical realities of how these systems actually function day to day. This institutional knowledge extends to knowing which offices handle specific matters, which clerks are most helpful with particular types of cases, and how to navigate the inevitable exceptions and edge cases that arise. Equally important is Easy Aliyah's on-the-ground presence in Israel. Unlike services that operate remotely and can only provide theoretical guidance, Easy Aliyah maintains a physical presence that allows for real-time problem-solving and in-person accompaniment when it matters most. This local presence means that when a document needs to be hand-delivered, when an appointment requires an advocate present, or when an unexpected situation demands immediate attention, help is genuinely available rather than merely promised. The team's real-world experience handling complex cases adds another dimension of value. Easy Aliyah has successfully navigated situations involving complicated family structures, unconventional documentation, questions about Jewish status requiring additional verification, and numerous other scenarios that fall outside the standard Aliyah pathway. This experience means that even when a case presents unusual challenges, the team has likely encountered something similar before and knows how to proceed effectively. Perhaps most significantly, Easy Aliyah provides post-Aliyah support that continues long after clients land at Ben Gurion Airport. While many services consider their job complete once the Aliyah flight departs, Easy Aliyah recognizes that arrival in Israel marks the beginning of an entirely new phase of integration that brings its own substantial challenges. The commitment to ongoing support reflects an understanding that true success in Aliyah is measured not by the completion of paperwork, but by the establishment of a fulfilling life in Israel. This is not a checklist service that mechanically processes applications. It is relationship-based support that recognizes each client as an individual with unique circumstances, concerns, and aspirations. The approach is fundamentally personal, with team members developing genuine understanding of each client's situation and providing guidance tailored to their specific needs, rather than generic advice that may or may not apply to their circumstances. While Easy Aliyah serves clients across the full spectrum of Aliyah scenarios, certain categories of individuals derive particularly significant benefit from concierge-level support. Families with children face multiplicative complexity, as each family member requires their own documentation, medical clearances, and eventually enrollment in educational institutions and healthcare systems. Coordinating all of these moving parts while managing the emotional needs of children transitioning to a new country demands professional support. Seniors and retirees often find the Aliyah process especially challenging due to the physical demands of navigating government offices, the language barriers that prove more difficult to overcome later in life, and the particular concerns around healthcare coverage and pension transfers that accompany retirement age immigration. For this population, having an advocate who understands both the general Aliyah process and the specific considerations relevant to older olim proves invaluable. Professionals relocating for work face their own distinct pressures, often operating under tight timelines dictated by employment start dates, while simultaneously managing credential recognition, professional licensing requirements, and the expectations of Israeli employers unfamiliar with the delays inherent in the Aliyah process. These clients need a service capable of expediting procedures where possible, while managing employer expectations and ensuring that career opportunities are not lost to bureaucratic delays. Clients with complex documentation or questions about Jewish status face perhaps the most stressful Aliyah scenarios. When eligibility itself is uncertain, when documentation from the former Soviet Union or other regions with poor record-keeping is incomplete or difficult to authenticate, or when family history presents complications that require rabbinic involvement, the expertise of a service that has handled similar situations becomes essential. These cases require not just knowledge of procedures, but diplomatic skill in working with the various authorities involved. Ultimately, anyone who values certainty, speed, and reduced stress throughout their Aliyah process will find that concierge support represents a worthwhile investment. The peace of mind that comes from knowing every detail is being handled by experienced professionals, that someone is tracking deadlines and anticipating problems, and that expert help is available whenever questions arise cannot be easily quantified, but is immediately appreciated by those who experience it. The Pre-Aliyah services provided by Easy Aliyah address every aspect of preparation for the move to Israel. The process begins with a comprehensive eligibility review that examines the client's situation from every relevant angle. This goes beyond simply confirming that someone meets the basic requirements of the law of return to identify any potential complications, assess the strength of available documentation, and develop strategies for addressing any weaknesses in the case before they become obstacles. Document strategy and preparation represents one of the most critical and commonly underestimated aspects of Aliyah preparation. The Israeli authorities require specific documents prepared in specific ways, and the requirements are not always intuitive or clearly communicated. Easy Aliyah guides clients through the process of gathering birth certificates, marriage certificates, proof of Jewish heritage, criminal background checks, and all other required documentation, while ensuring that each document meets the precise specifications required for acceptance. Translation coordination ensures that documents are not only translated, but translated correctly, and by translators whose work will be accepted by the relevant authorities. The nuances of legal translation, The requirements for notarization and apostille in various jurisdictions, and the specific preferences of Israeli officials reviewing documents all factor into this seemingly straightforward but actually quite complex process. Appointment planning involves scheduling the sequence of consular interviews and other pre-Aliyah meetings in an order that makes sense given document processing times, personal schedules, and the internal procedures of the Jewish agency and Israeli consulates. Getting this wrong can mean repeated trips, wasted time, and extended delays, while getting it right creates a smooth path toward approval. Timeline development and contingency planning account for the reality that Aliyah processes rarely proceed exactly as originally planned. Having realistic expectations about how long each phase will take, building appropriate buffers into schedules, and developing backup plans for common complications allows clients to make informed decisions about lease terminations, job transitions, school enrollments for children, and all the other life changes that depend on Aliyah timing. Upon arrival in Israel, a new set of challenges emerges that require equally sophisticated support. The biometric 2.0 Zehut appointment represents the first major post-arrival milestone, involving a visit to the Misrad HaPnim to obtain Israel's national identification document. This appointment must be scheduled, preparation materials assembled, and in many cases, the client accompanied to ensure that the process proceeds smoothly and that the precious identification document is obtained without unnecessary complications. Registration with Misrad HaKlita, the Ministry of Absorption, unlocks access to the substantial benefits package available to new olim, including the Sal Klita absorption basket payments that provide crucial financial support during the initial months in Israel. Properly completing this registration and understanding the schedule of benefit payments helps new olim plan their finances and avoid unnecessary stress during an already demanding transition period. Kupat Cholim enrollment provides access to Israel's excellent national healthcare system through one of the country's health maintenance organizations. Understanding the differences between the various kupat, selecting the one most appropriate for each client's needs and preferences, and completing the enrollment paperwork correctly ensures that healthcare coverage begins promptly and that clients can access the medical care they need from their earliest days in Israel. Bank account opening in Israel presents challenges unfamiliar to those accustomed to banking systems elsewhere. Israeli banks have their own procedures, documentation requirements, and expectations that can frustrate new arrivals unfamiliar with local norms. Support through this process helps ensure that clients can receive their absorption benefits, transfer funds from abroad, and establish the financial infrastructure necessary for daily life. Housing and utility assistance addresses the practical realities of establishing a home in Israel, from understanding the rental market and lease terms to setting up electricity, water, gas, internet, and other essential services. Each of these tasks that seems straightforward in one's country of origin can become surprisingly complex when dealing with Israeli companies in a new language within an unfamiliar system. Driving license conversion guidance helps clients who wish to drive in Israel understand and complete the process for converting their foreign licenses to Israeli ones. The process varies depending on the country of origin and involves medical examinations, theoretical tests, and practical assessments that benefit from informed preparation and realistic expectations about timelines and requirements. Long-term settlement planning looks beyond the immediate post-arrival period to help clients think strategically about their integration into Israeli society. This encompasses career development, educational opportunities, community involvement, Hebrew language acquisition, and the countless other elements that contribute to building a successful and fulfilling life in Israel over the years and decades to come. The truth that every experienced Aliyah professional understands is that Aliyah does not end at Ben Gurion Airport. In many meaningful ways, that arrival represents not the conclusion of a journey, but the beginning of the real work of building a life in Israel. The bureaucratic challenges continue, the cultural adjustments intensify, and the need for knowledgeable support remains constant throughout the first months and years of absorption. Easy Aliyah's concierge service ensures that you do not face this transition alone. From the first conversation about eligibility through the establishment of a stable, integrated life in Israel, experienced professionals stand ready to guide, advocate, and support. The investment in concierge-level assistance pays dividends not just in reduced stress and faster processing, but in the confidence that comes from knowing your Aliyah is in capable hands, hands that will remain available to help as long as that help is needed. Your journey to Israel deserves nothing less.